Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Man who killed PM Youth Awardee fatally shot by Manchester police. Opposition members in Mount Salem St. James at odds over zoso extension. And later in sports, Jamaican judoka Ebony Drysdale Daly suspended by Judo Association. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shane Masters, and here are the details. The Manchester police have made a major breakthrough in the murder of C.J. Cunningham, the 2022 recipient of the Prime Minister's National Youth Award for Excellence in Agriculture. The police say Andre Knight, who was fatally shot during a confrontation in Davidton last month, has been positively identified as the man who killed Mr. Cunningham on April 26th in the same community. Head of the Manchester Police Division, Deputy Superintendent Kerry Duncan, provided an update on the case at yesterday's monthly meeting of the Municipal Corporation. DSP Duncan did not disclose the motive for the murder of Mr. Cunningham.
When I spoke about 2 weeks ago, I said that we were well advanced in our investigation surrounding the C.J. Cunningham murder. So, subsequent to the C.J. Cunningham murder, we went into the space in Davidton and we were confronted by an individual, and he was fatally shot and a firearm was recovered. Subsequent to that incident, based on our investigation, that person was positively identified as the person who was responsible for C.J. Cunningham's murder.
The accused killer of 3-year-old Asher Campbell, Devon Williams, was remanded yesterday when he appeared at the Port Maria court. His case will next be heard on June 20. Williams was without an attorney and wanted to represent himself. However, his father, Philip Reddix, told the presiding judge he will ensure his son has an attorney at the next court date. Asher was chopped to death on Wednesday, May 29, while walking with family members in Padgy, St. Mary. There are contending views among residents and the political directorate in Mount Salem St. James following extension of the Zone of Special Operations, ZOSO. While residents are welcoming a longer period for the security measure, there are concerns from the political representatives. Details in this report.
The extension of the Zone of Special Operations by the House of Representatives on Tuesday has received support from residents in Mount Salem St. James. They say since the imposition of the measure, there has been a marked reduction in crime in the area, although some people are still fearful.
I feel grateful, I appreciate it, I love it. It's a very good thing. I've seen it work over the years.
Well, it helped Mount Salem a great deal because, it cut down the crime, yes, and people can walk and, be good to each other. That's all we want, just be good to each other. So I'm glad for this also.
Despite the optimism, Councillor for the Mount Salem Division, Kerry Thomas, has described the extension as interesting.
Now, when many of the residents look at you and tell you they still want them around, it means that we have not achieved the objective of changing the minds of the people, and people only feel safe when the police are around.
He further noted that the economic benefits within the space are also being hampered.
This corner shop man and the entertainment man still feel disenfranchised because he's not able to host his events as much as he can, and they have basically damped down them into a certain level. So I think the zones of special operation extension and paper is one, but it needs a complete overall to ensure that it is meeting what it intends to do, which is to change the minds of the people. After 7 years, it should be in a place where the people are able to police themselves.
MP caretaker for West Central St. James, Dr. Andre Horton, is also of the view that ZOSO is a band-aid for the issues plaguing the area. He believes that if the measure is lifted, then things will return to what it was before.
The communities have been suppressed severely, and because a lot of the social intervention programs that would have been able to take place prior to the ZOSO are not happening now, a lot of the community members feel very disenfranchised, they feel very suppressed, and they are very down in their spirits here in these communities. So we definitely need to see a change, and we need self-upliftment and more community intervention programs.
The extension of the ZOSO will last for 180 days. Carrie Simpson, TVJ News.
The Manchester police have arrested 3 people in 2 separate incidents in Spalding and Mandeville for breaches committed in the public space. In Spalding, a man and a woman who were seen engaged in explicit sexual acts with several persons recording them on cell phones were arrested by the police. The man has been granted station bail and will make his first court appearance on July 23. The woman, who reportedly gave the police a fictitious name and address, is to appear in court on June 19. The video has been widely circulated via social media. In Mandeville, the police arrested a man for vending in an area along Manchester Road just days after vendors were advised to vacate the area. Commanding officer for the parish, DSP Kira Duncan, says the decision was taken to reduce traffic congestion, especially in the parish capital.
It makes no sense to try to be defiant. The law is the law. We hear persons talking about we have been here for 30 years and this is our way of living. I understand. And we are creatures of habit. However, just look at yourself and tell yourself that you have been doing it wrong for 30 years. So now we want to move the thing forward. Public order is the order of the day.
In response to an alarming number of motorcycle-related fatalities in Manchester, plans are underway to establish a dedicated training facility for motorcyclists. It's an initiative of the Upshifters Motorcycle Club of Manchester. The group will be working closely with Custis Garfield Green on the project.
Training facility where if someone's interested in learning how to ride, that the first thing they do is go through the safety precautions of riding and then learning about the gears and actually learning about your bike. The problem is a lot of people buy a bike and don't know nothing about the bike until it's too late. So officially, no, we don't have anything, official training section, but it's something we want to work with along with the Custis of Manchester.
Motorcyclists account for 33% of the road users killed since the start of the year.
At a policy level, I think there needs to be a main push. When I mean a main push, not just a basic push of safety, but the consequences of your actions if you don't do safety. So I don't think we need to focus on even the rider getting hurt, but then the consequences of what does that family do now when they have lost a father? What does that family do now when they have lost a brother? Where they have lost a breadwinner? You understand? So once we realize that this is affecting not just the rider who gets hurt, but the overall family and the overall society, then I think maybe we'll be getting a better reaction from the public.
Despite a reduction in motor vehicle crashes in St. Mary's since the start of the year, head of the Police Division, Superintendent Bobette Morgan-Simpson, says it still continues to be an issue. Speaking at the recent Municipal Corporation meeting, she noted that there have been 204 crashes to date compared to 220 last year.
Of the 204, there were 5 fatalities and 39 persons were injured.
The St. Mary commanding officer says there were also 5 fatalities for the corresponding period in 2023. She is therefore imploring drivers to obey the speed limit and to be careful when using the road. In the meantime, Superintendent Morgan-Simpson says she did not see the reason for the recent protests by taxi operators in the parish. She told the meeting that some of what the operators complained about was due to their own doing.
Unruly drivers on our roads, and that's the bottom line. Too many unruly drivers. And I spoke to a number of the taxi operators on the morning, and that was a trend mainly of the conversation. And some agreed in relation to the driving and the poor driving habits, but at the same time they're making excuses as to why there are so many taxis on the road and everybody have to eat a food and that sort of thing. So we have this culture of wanting to have our own way and to disregard what is law and order, and it's just not going to work.
In other stories, an appeal from residents of Port Morant in St. Thomas for the drains to be cleaned. It comes after major flooding last week. Kirk Wright has the details.
Any hint of rain in Cotton Tree, Port Morant, St. Thomas puts the residents there on edge. They say their fears are triggered by years of harrowing experiences with flooding when they get a heavy downpour. Vinette Johnson says she has been a resident of Cotton Tree since 1984.
And we are having this problem even before that in Cotton Tree with water. But it's worse now. And the rain now have to fall, no time now. Even 2 minutes of rainfall, we got flood out.
The water drenched the furniture in her house. Another resident shared a similar experience.
I live here for many years and it's the worst I've seen the water affecting us. The drainage are blocked, the one right out here on the road, the concrete and everything, and it's a long time it blocked out.
Their last experience was this week during the unstable weather that's affecting the island. Poor drainage in sections of Port Morant also led to flooded roads. Newly elected council says the main drains need cleaning.
I, from the standpoint of councillorship, have cleaned all the feeder drains that feed into the main drains of Port Morant Square. But now we need the drains to be cleaned so that they can actually feed back into the river that drains the place. The river needs some attention because it seems as if the water level is at the level of the river or lower, and so because of that we cannot have the kind of runoff.
The Member of Parliament, Michelle Charles, says they are attempting to fix the problem with a $1 million allocation by the Prime Minister for mitigation works.
We're preparing for it. We are in consultation with the NWA to see which drains are critical. $1 million sounds like a lot of money, but it's not enough for 4 divisions. But we're very grateful and we're very thankful to the government for getting us prepared for this hurricane season.
The residents want the authorities to act swiftly.
Especially this hurricane season that we understand that is active and will be active. We need somebody. We need somebody attention. I am pleading and making some intercession for somebody to come and help us. We need it.
That report from Kirk Wright. It's time for a break here on the Midday News. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck is insisting that serious steps are being taken to weed out justices of the peace, JPs, who engage in unlawful activities. Speaking at a sensitization session in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth on Thursday, he noted that as the government doubles the pool of JPs, some of questionable character will slip through the cracks. However, he wants members of the public, other JPs and custodies to report them, and a disciplinary committee will ensure they are held accountable.
Before disciplinary committees, and that disciplinary committee can indeed recommend the decommissioning of that justice of the peace who has breached any of the guidelines or protocols expected of a justice of the peace. In truth, over the last few months, quite a few justices of the peace have been decommissioned because they have acted in a manner which is inappropriate.
He's reminding JPs that the office they hold comes with great integrity, as they are responsible for helping to deliver justice services, such as settling domestic disputes and presiding over some court cases. And it's now time for the Business Minute.
Value of exports in the mining and quarrying industry decreased by 11.9% for January 2024. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin says $45.5 million was earned for that month. That's down from the $51.7 million recorded for January 2023. Statin says this was largely due to the 11.2% fall in earnings from alumni exports. This decline totaled $39.6 million. In January 2023, the value of those exports was $44.5 million. further afield, Apple is now the most valuable public company in the US. It took the top spot Thursday after talk of its new AI features for iPhone sending stocks soaring. Apple's market cap closed at $3.29 trillion Thursday, edging past Microsoft's $3.28 trillion valuation. Apple shares rose over 0.5% on Thursday. It's up 8.8% for the week. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Carrie Simpson.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has welcomed the installation of the new government in Haiti, noting that it includes women in key cabinet positions. The Secretary-General says this positive transitional governance milestone should be accompanied by urgently needed security gains. Haiti's 12-member cabinet was sworn into office on Wednesday, with Prime Minister Gary Conille underscoring the importance of peace and security in the French-speaking CARICOM nation. On the international scene, a coalition deal has been confirmed that will see Cyril Ramaphosa re-elected as president of South Africa. The new MPs have been sworn in after the May 29 election. That was when the African National Congress lost its majority for the first time in 30 years. The outcome forced the party into coalition talks. The MPs are expected to elect the president after the election of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker of Parliament. In order to get its candidate for head of state, Cyril Ramaphosa, in place, the ANC had to make a deal with other parties. And former U.S. President Donald Trump has returned to Capitol Hill to meet Republicans in his first visit since the riot by supporters at Congress 3 years ago. Trump, the presumptive Republican nominee in November's presidential election, delivered a message of unity, promising to work out any lingering differences within the party. The former president was also scheduled to meet an association of 200 corporate leaders. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Nakinski Robinson.
And we head to a quick break. When we come back, Jermaine Brown will have your midday sports report.